Yo, what's up, guys? It's Weisher. Welcome back to another episode of Cup of POE. This episode, we're going to talk about, some post-patch 0.4 stuff, the sentiment within the community, my thoughts on the patch thus far, etc. All right, so let's get into it. What's with the crash out on patch 0.4? Guys, like the Path of Exile 2 community is totally flipped on grinding gear games. It's been a complete 180. When we were leading up to this patch and all of a sudden it was being announced that we were getting the Druid, you got the Wolf Wyver Bear, and then that we were getting Atziri and the temple, build your own temple mechanic and all that stuff. Everybody's disappointed that we weren't getting end game, but everybody was super pumped for the Druid and this new league mechanic, right? Some other fixes, and then we got that late edition of the sorcerer ascendancy, right? Which I've yet to try, but it looks pretty dope. Anyways, everybody was super pumped up about this patch, right? Next thing you know, we get to the patch, and not even 48 hours after release, everybody is hating on grinding gear games, just completely dumping on patch 0.4. And I'm just like, why, dude? Like, if you just have a little bit of perspective on this thing, all right? Grinding Gear Games is running both Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2. Now, not to my knowledge, they have not doubled the size of their company, right? So they are, splitting dev time between the two games, all right? Trying to keep a PoE 1 community happy, right? And trying to keep a PoE 2 community happy, all right? So just have a little bit of perspective on that. Like, they're not fully focused on PoE 2, which in my opinion they should be, right? That's a discussion for another day, okay? But we just have to be cognizant about the fact that they are splitting their time between two games, all right? So if you guys look at it from that perspective, right, that's the first point. The second point is that we are still in early access. Every single person that bought this game knows that it was early access, all right? We went into this knowing that the game was in early access. You gave your money to a company knowing that the game was still in development, essentially. That's the contract that you signed, all right? That's the contract that you signed when you gave them your money, all right? The game is going to be ultimately free to play, all right? But you gave them money to play the game early, all right? So I really don't think that there's any room to complain, man. There shouldn't be a reason why people are complaining. To me, the game is so well made, like in the realm of ARPGs, that everything we get on top of this is gravy anyways. All right. It's all gravy. I mean, we already know, what's coming in patch 0.5. And I swear, probably 6 hours after the patch came out, people were talking about 0.5 end game. All right. Let's not forget that there was a massive outcry for Druid. There was a massive outcry for Druid when it did not come in 0.3. And then we were guaranteed it in 0.4. All right. And the hype around the Druid was so enormous that grinding gear games could not look away. Now, just let's think about this for a second. All right. Let's play this out. Imagine there was no major outcry for Druid. What would have happened? What do you guys think would have happened? And would it have been better for us to get end game for 0.4 and then and maybe a few ascendancies, right? Whatever the league mechanic, and then Druid in 0.5? Personally, I think that would have been a better trade-off, right? But, voices in the Path of Exile community, whatever you guys want to think about it, I'm kind of indifferent to it. It doesn't matter to me because I love the game. But, they wanted Druid first, and we got Druid. And yeah, it might have been a little undercooked as far as like the skills and whatnot. But, overall, it's a great addition to the game. But yeah, we could have had end game. We could have had the end game patch, guys. Had we had harped on end game patch as much as we had harped on Druid, we would have it. All right. Anyways, that's all I got to say about it, man. That's another episode of Cup of POE. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, like, subscribe. live on Twitch and YouTube during the weekends. We'll holla at y'all. Peace.